All right, AEW Dynamite Delight. Gotta say it like that. If you don't start with Dynamite Delight, sorry guys. If you don't start saying Dynamite Delight, people forget. Now, before I get started, just in case, and I know there's going to be someone that may say, dude, did you hear about Jen Peppermint? Yes, I did. I checked when I was checking on Madison Rayne if anything was going on with her, as you've already seen from the title. I had to check for Madison Rayne, but while I was checking, I did see Jay Peppermint is now Vice President of Creative Development. Now, what does that mean? It is, from the article I saw, it is an exciting moment for Tony Khan because he now has a Vice President for Creative that is a former writer from WWE. She is a former writer from WWE. She is now Vice President of Creative. I do not know what that means, in a sense that if Tony does not allow her to express herself, the title doesn't mean anything. But we don't know if he's going to actually say, okay, here, I'm going to take care of this. You take all of this. If Tony splits it in half, that he lets Jen do half and he does the other, fine. But if he doesn't let her have the reins, what is the point of letting a Vice President of Creative Development, which means she helps in creation of the storylines, because that's what's in the article, let her do a job? What is the point of hiring her? For show? It's not going to help the company. People are still pissed off on what's going on with the creative aspects. And this better be what it means. She's now Vice President. She's now only person she answer to is Tony only. If she's allowed to do what needed, if it's for the women, great. If it's for the men, great. If it's for both, counting on how much of a spread, if she works on Collision and let's say Rampage, fine. Let's say she does Collision and ROH. Not saying she does. But if she does, fine. At least it'll be something for Collision. And Tony now only has to focus on Rampage and Dynamite. I'd rather him focus on just Dynamite. Let her deal with Rampage, Collision, and ROH. Let her have all of that load. Let him have that. Or maybe vice versa. That she does Dynamite, he does Collision, and let someone else do Rampage and ROH. I'm just saying. Let's just hope this is what we get. Now, I'm not going to be detailed in this video because there's a lot of questions here. It's a huge amount of questions of what the fuck did we just see? Because some of this makes a lot of sense. Some of this does not make any sense. And I'm going like, really? You're doing this here? That's how I felt. Let's open with Moxley and Claudio versus FTR, which should have been done as a closing of a show. I'm sorry. I know the story's not that great. I know the Blackpool Combat Club did say, we'll take on anyone and whoop your ass. And the FTR thinks, well, if you're like this, we're better than you. We're going to show it. This should have been a closing show. This should have been them closing the damn show because it would have been more dramatic. Opening the show, yes, a lot of people are going to like it. But I do believe this should have closed the show. It was that damn good of a match. It was. There was a lot of drama. There was a lot of hard hitting. At one point, these guys looked like they were generally trying to honestly hurt one another. Look, we know they're a little stiff in the ring. Sometimes they really want to sell what they're giving, going like this. But when you literally see them really trying to headbutt each other, and understand, when there's true headbutts, you can see when it came to Cash Wheeler, the bruises on his head, because usually they put their hand on top of the other person's head, go like this. Yeah, they hit their knuckles or their hand here. It can hurt, but it's much softer than head to head. But what did we get between Cash and Moxley? They were literally headbutting each other. That wasn't a joke. Moxley bleeding a little bit there, that was legitimate. That was not a joke. They were really trying to put this over as hard as possible. And if it was that important to do it, why wasn't this the end of the show? Or some Dynamite show? It should have been. But it was here. Here. And I'm not saying that it wasn't great. It was. The fight afterward. And then when you hear Cash and Dax saying after the match was over in an interview with Mox's own woman, his own Renee Paquette, that we don't care. you want to do this? Let's do it somewhere special. And then they're arguing between each other. This is good, but it could be great. And it's not getting anywhere. I'm just saying. Moving on. Orange Cassidy versus Mike Bennett. Let's put this in perspective. They've taken out Rocky Romero. They've taken out Chuck. They've taken out Trent. That's what the Undisputed Kingdom has done. Then you got Orange Cassidy having the match. That was the Texas Death Match. Then later flying to, what was it? I don't remember where exactly, somewhere in Europe. And he was going to do like a media tour talking about All In that's coming in August. And then he had to go to Revolve, what was it? What was the name of the place? Pro. Ven, or V-E-N, Ven Pro Wrestling, I think that's what it's called. Went there, had a match. A 7-man match for his title. And now he's having a match with Mike Bennett. I'm not going to tell you that this was a bad match, but I am going to say this. What are they doing with Orange Cassidy? They just let him have match after match after match after match. Now you're having his entire support system gone, but does this mean we're going to start seeing him become somebody different? He's still wearing the glasses. He still does this. Yeah, he became more aggressive when they first started. He went after Taman and Mike himself before the match even happened. But where is the development of him? That's not development. That's just him getting revenge on what happened to his friends. That doesn't mean he's developed. I want to see him turn heel. I'm saying it right now. After everything he's gone through, trying to keep his title, I want to see Orange Cassidy turn heel. I want to see him turn heel, turn against Rocky Romero, turn against Chuck, and turn against Trent. Let them stay clean. Let them stay faces. I want to see him turn heel. I legitimately want to see him turn heel at this point. He won the match, and then he got his ass whooped. And it's Jake Hager to save them because Jake is now back. And this was Oklahoma, his own hometown. Well, own home state. But he's back, and now it was in his own home state that he's come back, which is fine. That means maybe they're going to have a tag match that's going to have Jake and Orange Cassidy versus the Undisputed Kingdom. Fine. But I want Orange to turn heel. I'm saying it. I don't know anybody else that want it. Sorry. If you see this thing moving, I just hit the kickstand. Sorry. But, not kickstand. I mean tripod. I don't know why I said kickstand. I'm an idiot. This is one of the things you learn from podcasters. We have a tendency to botch our asses off. But what most podcasters would do, they would turn off the camera, center themselves, turn the camera back on and do it. Nah. You're going to see me act stupid. You're going to see me botch. You're going to see me act stupid. I'm not like everybody else. I'm just going to be me because I get too nervous that, and I used to do this, if just a little bit background for anyone who wants to do podcasting like myself, which I'm not the best. I'm not even close. But during the beginning, when I first started on a really crappy camera, I always had to stop and start, try to think about what I wanted to do, stop and start. And then I learned, by the time I started doing the Gump Report, what the hell are you doing? You're not having fun. You're being so nervous that you're not getting your point across. You're forgetting things. Just do it. Have fun. But try to be as entertaining as you can when I'm basically have the, well, I guess I have the comedic ability of a rock. Or just nervous that I'm going to say something wrong to offend somebody. And I don't want to offend anybody, but things come out, you make mistakes, and you own it. Just do it and have fun. The only time you have to stop the camera is when your battery dies. That's it. And then curse your ass off when the battery dies in the middle of something you're saying. That happens. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, if I forgot something, I feel like I did. I'm moving on. Okay, next match. They had only about 4 matches on this show, which was kind of surprising. Very rarely you see them go that low on the match quality. Not quality, quantity. Well, technically, let me give you like this. They got very good match quality here. They did. But the quantity was cut in half. Usually you have about 8 matches or 9. Here it's about 4, which is fine. well, they actually did have 5 matches, but you can't really count the third match as a match because it was so brief. Look, Tasteless Toni Storm versus what is the girl's name? I don't even know what her name was. It was, Willem. I believe her name is Willem. She was done quickly. And this was because they wanted to repeat the same thing they did last time, because it was Deonna Purrazzo who went up against well, I don't want to say that Kiera Hogan is nothing, because I still love the girl, even though the color of her hair did not match who she is. She looks better in blue or bright red, but the color she had, a light, like, kind of like a, what would be the right color to say it? Because she wasn't like she was a redhead. She was oranged hair with blonde. It did not match her. But I'm not saying anything about Kiera Hogan. I love the girl. But that match was meant to be as quick as possible so Toni Storm could come out and just upstart Deonna Purrazzo. And we got the reverse. Deonna came out, had her match with a Madison Rayne. Now, I'm going to stop right here. But I just wanted to say that that was a very short match, because the ending match is what I'm going to talk about. Well, maybe I shouldn't, because there's still a lot of stuff here. You know what? I really rather leave this for the end, but I think because there's so much else here, I got to say this did upset me quite a lot, because when you see Madison Rayne, 2 things pissed me off. 1, Madison has not done anything for the roster other than train them. And she should be working. When there was no Selena Deeps, you needed someone who was a professional, one who was a veteran. Why was Madison Rayne used more often? Not the point if she can hold a promo or speak. At least it would have been new bodies for us to see, because we barely saw her. We've seen the same old women, badly booked, the same old Japanese women who deserve better, that have better storylines, and the same old regular wrestlers. We needed people who were in the back to do more work, like Mercedes Martinez and a Madison Rayne, whether you like her or not. She's a good-looking woman with nice pair of boobs. And from what I understand, she's very sweet, but she can wrestle. She can, to a certain extent, hold a promo. She's a better heel than she is a face. And she was a face here with Deonna Purrazzo in that match, and she lost. I will get to what happened to her in a moment. And then what do we have? Our Tasteless Toni Storm running out, trying to beat up on a Deonna Purrazzo who won the match, and then gets an ankle lock on her. And when it came down to it, you see a Crazy Storm putting lipstick over her lips like a, well, you know the old adage? Well, sorry, I should take this back. This is an American thing. They say in America, counts on what parts of the country most agree. No matter what, putting lipstick on a pig does not make it good looking. Now, the reason they say it like that is that no matter what you do, you can cover up whatever mess you have, but if it's bad, it's bad. That's what they mean. No matter, putting lipstick on a pig does not make it look good. Make it sexy or good looking. I know there's a better way to say it, but that's the best way to say it. So, she did that. That's the way she looked. She looked like a pig with a whole bunch of lipstick on her mouth. But let's make this clear. The story between Deonna and Toni Storm is fine. There's an actual life story there. They've known each other for years. Toni Storm now has put, supposedly, a tattoo along with her original one that she got with Deonna Purrazzo with a dagger through it. That makes things interesting. But taking away from that, we needed more women on the roster that was different. And Madison Rayne has been there for almost 2 years now, about 1.5 years easily, nearing 2. She's been there a while, and they should have been using her on Dynamite and using her more on Rampage, and they've not done it. None of that. And as far as I remember, she wasn't even on, not Rampage, Collision, I mistake. Why did it? Well, actually, as far as I know, she wasn't much on Rampage when I was reviewing it at all when she was there. She's not on Collision, and I don't even know if she's been on ROH TV. As far as I know, she's not. But she deserved better. to be seen and to wrestle next to being a trainer. She could still do that. What's happened with Selena Deeps, she had Hiro Kushida's storyline. She was a trainer, but she was also wrestling. There was no problem. And so she. But what happened here was so terrifying, because when Deonna Purrazzo tried to do a forward flip with her and did not get the full rotation correctly, and Madison Rayne's head literally was driven into the mat so hard that she looked like she was dead. Now, I'm not saying that she was hurt. She might have been all right, and she might have been doing a good amount of selling. But I don't care where you come from. That kind of spot was bad. Either Madison didn't curl herself up enough, or Deonna didn't get her up and around to try and do that move, because I don't remember the name of that particular wrestling move. But literally was so nasty. Everyone went, oh my gosh. No one was comfortable after that. No one. She looked like she could have actually been concussed, or her neck could have been snapped from that shit. And yes, the ref said she was all right, and she was still able to go on with it, but she barely moved. Now I'm hoping she's fine, and I spent a good amount of time before this video review to go and see if there was something online. That's where I saw Jen Peppermint being Vice President of Creative now. But I didn't see anything. But still, I'm hoping she's fine. And she deserves better than what she's been getting. Last match, RVD. Well, let me give it to you like this. What was this about? Was this trying to put over Brian Cage? No. Was this trying to put over Hook? No. Was this trying to put over RVD? No. This was only about Joe, Strickland, and Paige and their interaction during the match and how the story is going. Because none of the others mattered. Now, was it a good match? Yes. Seeing that there's still some good chemistry between Hook and the Samoan submission machine was fine. And it wasn't that bad of an interaction with all 6 of them. But we know who is the most important here. It's not Brian Cage, it's not Hook, and it's not RVD. It's just Strickland, Paige, and Joe. And Joe gets the pin on RVD. Didn't get it on Strickland. He didn't get it on Adam. He did not do it. He only did the person that's the least on the roster, if he's even on the roster. I don't even think RVD is a part of AEW as far as I know. And I don't know. But if he is a part of AEW, maybe he's helping in the back, working with the wrestlers there. I'm not surprised that he jobbed. But what does this really give us? Next to all the other stuff that happened, like what happened with Sammy Guevara, which I'll get to in a minute, the wrestling itself was fine. But the story between Strickland, Paige, and the Samoa Joe is the most important thing. Now, the best promos, there were only 2. I'm not going to cover anything else, just these 2. The first one, Sammy Guevara, dealing with Christian Cage and talking about David Guevara and Jackie Guevara and finding out that David's dead. Okay. I didn't know they were going to go there using actually possibly Daniel Garcia. No, not Guevara. I'm sorry. Why did I say Guevara? I guess because the reason I talk about Sammy Guevara instead of Daniel Garcia is that when you see the situation and you see how far they're willing to go with it, I'm just like, how many more people are going to be bringing out family? Who's going to be bringing out dead dads or something, or deadbeat dads or something? I'm not saying that Sammy Guevara is next, because that's what I was kind of bringing up, wondering if Sammy Guevara is going to be next, that his family information is going to be released as well, if it's true. Because I don't think Daniel Garcia's dad is alive. He probably is passed away. But how many more people are going to be brought into real life in this? Now, there's nothing wrong with it, but Sammy Guevara could be next. And Darby Allin's own life has already been brought in because of his own uncle dying in a car crash with him in it. He's lucky he's alive. But legitimately, it's a lot to take, wondering who's next. Who is going to be sharing their real life. And that covers Sting, which I'll get to in a minute. But you wonder how far they're actually going to be pushing this type of narrative where they're going to throw a lot of real life into this, and will Sammy Guevara be next? And let me give you to like this. When Christian Cage talked about him dealing with Sammy Guevara, I believe I remember him talking about him. That's why I brought him up. And now, seeing that Daniel Garcia is now taking the place of Edge, well, I like calling him Edge even though it's Adam Copeland. You see, this is what a lot of older fans are going to see. They're going to see Edge, who's now called Adam Copeland. He's not as over as Adam Copeland as he is as Edge. I mean, people can understand the transition, call him Adam instead of Edge, but you get my point. But the point is, he's not there right now, and it's now being pushed for pretty much Garcia. No problem. Daniel's having the moment. And maybe, just maybe, Adam will help him to win it at Revolution. You never know. Because he may be out doesn't mean he's really out. But when they brought that up about his mom and about his dad, and then Christian saying, I don't want to face you because right now you're not ready. But now finding out that you have a mom in New York, and then you got a dad that is now dead, and he's probably nothing. I want to be your dad. And then this is what makes a New Yorker New Yorker. Understand something, guys. We New Yorkers don't take things well. Let's make it clear. Even me, I've already said I'm a very shy, very quiet person. But even there's a point where I will reach where you will piss my ass off, and I don't take things well. But it takes a lot for me to do that. But hearing him say, oh, you know, you talking about my dad? Don't you talk about my mama. But you talking about my dad? Come up into this ring and I'll bury you right next to my dad. He was ready to whoop his ass. And what did we get? We got everyone, and the only person to go in that ring was Christian and Shayna Wayne. You got Killswitch and Nick, who got put into a sharpshooter trying to get him but couldn't. This is trying to be as personal as possible. Like it's kind of rushed. This is where it gets a little strange. It feels kind of rushed due to the fact we only got about maybe a week away, a week and a half away, before, I think a week away before the Revolution comes. Not sure. No, almost 2 weeks away. Almost 2 weeks, I think. So it feels like this is being rushed a little bit. I kind of wish they developed it a little more, but it's not that bad. Sting. Last thing I'll talk about. I know there's more. I'm sure there's more, but I'm only going to talk about Sting. Yes, I could talk about Ric Flair when he went to Nicholas and Matthew, but I'm leaving it. Because I don't know how far they're willing to go with him before Revolution. But Sting. It's interesting to see that Sting was right. As far as I remember, his original family, his own sons and his wife have never generally been mentioned in wrestling. Generally. And when you hear a Darby Allin say that and show a picture of his sons that were the same age as them, and you did what they did to them, you really gone too far. And Sting got really upset. And particularly when he said, and I give my condolences to Sting, that 7 days ago his father, probably in his 90s, 80 or 90s, has passed away. I doubt he's really young. He was probably in his 80s. Because Sting is 65 and his father might have been in his 80s or 90s, I guess. So I give my condolences. But he said 7 days ago his dad passed away and he was his hero. And now what you've done, I don't have a lot left in me. I don't feel my mortality like I used to. I used to feel like I was invincible, but now I feel mortality. But whatever I have left in me, you're about to get it. And you're going to wish you hadn't. That's generally what Sting said. But hearing this from Sting, in, I think, maybe his own home, I don't know if that was the wisest place to do it. Because I think it would have been more dramatic if he had been in the ring. But it's understandable why they didn't. Because if this is true, which it probably is, they wouldn't lie about Sting's father's death. Probably Sting was dealing with the funeral and for the wake. And then if it was a burial or a cremation, don't know which one, he wanted to do it in his home. And that might be the door to his home. So he wanted to do it there. But I'm not going to lie. Taking away how I feel that it was wise to do it in his home because of whatever he's going through, that it would be more convenient. Was it better for the story itself? No, it should have been in the ring. I'm just saying it as someone being objective, not putting emotion into it. But as someone who understands the type of situation, it made sense for him to do it and was the right thing for him. But for the story, it could have been even more elevated if he did it in the ring and shown what he really felt, having real emotion, and the fans getting behind him, not behind the camera. That's just how it felt. Was this a good show? It was fine. It wasn't great, but it was all right. But you wonder how far they're going to push certain things. You're hoping that Madison Rayne's all right after getting her head driven and you heard the mat go boom. Now, of course, these mats make noise more than normal to make them more dramatic, but that did not look good. You wonder how far they're going to go FTR. How far they're going to go with a Daniel Garcia. Will they really do something when it comes to Orange Cassidy? Will they turn him heel? Which I really believe he should turn heel. I want to see him turn heel. I want to see him show more emotion and be a bad guy for a little while because he's pushed as far as he can as Orange. I want to see him be different. But this is just me. Peace.